CSS Media Queries allows us to write our CSS so that it targets different devices or screens. The two most common ones we do is we set up a print CSS and then we have our screen CSS. When we set it for screen, it's how it's going to show up on any of our screen-based devices. So we're doing a query for what type of hardware is now encountering our product. Now, as we go through this, we have a couple of different options. Now, if we look at it, we have print, screen, and speech are our standard three that we work with. The two that are most commonly worked with in our projects, and that's what we look at tonight, will be print and screen. And what happens as we do that is we can look at a page here, and I can see how my CSS has given it a beautiful yellow background. It's put in some pictures. It's chosen a sans serif typeface because that is my screen CSS information. But if I choose print and now look at my page, I will see that it is coming up a little bit different. It's choosing a sans serif, it's choosing a monospace, not sans serif, a monospace typeface. My images have gone away, the colors have gone away. Now if I go under more settings, I could choose show me the background graphics, and right now it's doing it in black and white. We'll do it in color. And oh wait, it's red text, which I don't see on my page, and the background is now green. So you may be asking yourself, what happened? What happened? We have to go back a step and look at how we're doing this. Now, inside of Atom, it's a pretty straightforward way of doing it. We have two options of how we can accomplish this. One is we can create two separate CSS files and link to them, and we set their media property. So if I set the media property on these elements, media print, media screen, and then it shows me this separate file. So if I look at the screen, we can see that it now is setting up image in the background of my paragraph. It's given it a specific width. It's chosen sans serif as my typeface. If I look at the print CSS, the text is showing up in red. The image is told not to display. But if I look at my document, and instead of using the media attribute here, I can also, if I had an embedded style sheet or a single style sheet, we can use the @media and then designate a type of media, screen, inside the curly braces that enclose that whole unit. I have set a background color of yellow. Otherwise, everything else is the same. Inside the @media print, I have set a background color of green. But also in here we can see where we're selecting the font family, this time monospace. In the screen one, it's sans serif. So to reiterate the technical application of this, we use an @media tag. We designate the type of media, screen or print. Within those curly braces, we just include our style rules as normal. Body, what I want to have happen. Paragraph, what I want to have happen. So we take our style information, we enclose it within that. If you have a really long style sheet, it's probably going to be better to create two separate CSS files than creating one CSS file where you link it together @media and @media print and @media screen. It does depend on the situation, but it can be easier just to have separate ones so that you're not having to worry about, okay, which is in which, and do all my curly braces match, and is it tucked inside that? It's much easier to keep it separate. But from a functional standpoint, it doesn't matter. I can use these two link style sheets, or I could have a third link style sheet that just has this information in it. But I just put it inside style tags here for expediency's sake so that it was easy to get to. One thing we'll notice is on the screen we put a background image inside of the paragraph. So that I'm looking at my page, I have this background image inside the paragraph. I'm going to, on my print, comment out display none. And now let's go back and reload the page. And now if I go to print this, we'll see that this image is now showing up as part of it. But by default, background graphics are dicey as far as whether background images print, the same way that I probably don't want the color to print, and by default most printers turn off background color as well because they know that you don't want to waste ink or toner printing that, and it often makes it really hard to read text printed on that background image. Now if I add the background image to the paragraph in my print style sheet as well and reload the page, and now when I go to print, if I turn on background graphics, we can see that graphic does print in the background. But I forgot that I had added that graphic in the screen CSS only. It wasn't just in generic CSS. That's why I didn't want to show. But if we turn off background graphics, we'll see that that picture disappears from there. The color disappears from the background, giving us what is really a better option for printing. But most often we will use this. You turn off your sidebars filled with ads, get rid of your header and footer. You just print out the page content, the main information as part of your page. That's what you want to have happen when you print it out. We're not concerned about maintaining the same layout because when it's printing, we're consuming it in a new environment, so we don't have to maintain where we're creating a picture perfect copy of what we see on screen to how it prints on the printer. We don't care about that. We care about the content when we're going to that other media.